move might make your head blow off.
Hey, yo, it's a talk show host, Kana Lassiter. Join me for an episode of Relations, the most lit hour of adult conversation.
Hold up, you know you can't forget about me. It's 51 Spade, alpha male G-O-D, one half of Relations. You wanna hear the truth? Can you handle the truth? It's where it's at, baby. It's where it's at, baby.
What's good? Welcome to another episode of Relations. My name is Kana Lassiter.
It's your boy, 51 Spade, alpha male G-O-D, the ninja you love to hate. I'm always in the building.
Yep, and you know how we do this. We give you two exciting topics every episode. Fox 2 just released a report saying 90% of women have a backup lover. We're going to debate that. And we're also going to debate the thin line between being submissive for women and being spoiled as a man. So let's get into this Fox 2 report that 90% of women have a backup lover. I disagree, only because you can only do statistics based on who you know. I mean, you could Google search, or you can say, personally, I know 100 women. And out of those 100 women, one or two maybe had a backup lover. So I think 90%, I'm not saying no women have backup lovers, but 90% is really high. And that's my problem with the stat, is that you're talking about 90% of women in America, because it's a channel, so they do a worldwide statistic. And they're saying 90% of the population of women have a backup lover? That doesn't seem accurate at all. Not if I'm basing it on just who I know, which is all I can do.
Obviously, you don't know your friends.
I don't think so. I just think they got the study wrong.
I don't think they have.
I would believe it's 50%, 60%.
It's 90%.
I doubt it.
And I'm gonna tell you why. It's a matter. The reason you don't understand is because it's a matter of how you're looking at it. The way that you're looking at it is you're basing it on the idea that when you hear the word backup and lover, you're basically looking at it like they might be involved with that person already. And I don't think that's necessarily what they're talking about. Like, typically before a woman can even move on into a relationship, they have another person that they kind of know who's there. And since majority of people have a social media, I feel like that is what they're talking about. Because majority of women who have social media, they have backup lovers. They don't call them lovers, but that's what they are, because this is the person that you kind of know who flirts with you, buy you food, you can get money from them, and you don't really have to do anything. You kind of can flirt with them and not give up the cow. You don't have to fuck them. You don't got to do all this other shit. But they go all out of their way because you already know that you like them. And women downplay that part. So your focus point of what you're thinking about is like backup lover, but I would say that's actually accurate, because at the end of the day, the person that most people like kick to the curb, use for money, use for their own little services, like, I guarantee that you can go on any one of your friends' pages and they know who it is on there that they like. Think about your friends who, the minute they post, they break up and they post, I'm single. That single isn't for everybody on their page. It's for the person that they already know they've been flirting back and forth with. That's their backup lover.
Okay, I mean, I may have put a little bit too much meat in the term lover.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Because just because you're flirting back and forth with someone, just because someone who's been hanging out over the years that you've been in a relationship and been unavailable, it doesn't mean that you guys are going to have great chemistry. So I think when I saw the word lover, I automatically went to someone you're already comfortable enough with to call them a lover to begin with.
But keep in mind, you're concentrating on the word lover. I'm focusing on the word backup. And to me, females have backups. Like, that's just point blank, period. Like, there is someone there. Now, whether they want them or not, That's something.
Well, then it doesn't technically qualify as a
that's
backup lover. Then, if it's not somebody you technically want to be with, then it's not really backup.
I mean, I can get some backup pussy. That don't mean that I want to technically be with them either. You know what I'm saying? But I guarantee if I get busted, then my girl gonna be like, "Oh, well, that was your backup bitch, huh? That's the bitch that you want to be with." And I'm gonna be like, "What? Well, I don't love the bitch. I don't want to be with her." But she's still gonna consider that bitch my backup.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing for me. Just because you dealing with someone, because females, see, that's the thing about y'all. Y'all like to move narratives. Like, it's like if you get busted cheating, it's an entanglement. If someone don't really like you, or they say that you mean, well, I got resting bitch face. If you know what I'm saying? Now we moving on to backup lover. Well, I ain't fucking him, so he's just not a backup. Yes, the fuck he is. Like, if you taking something from him, or you flirting with him indirectly, or any of this shit.
I disagree. That is not a backup lover. That is somebody that's giving you. That's the court's gesture. That's the guy that makes you laugh. That's the guy that is. That's entertainment.
There's a lot of bitches ended up with entertainment then, because you can say whatever you want. Because really, at the end of the day, I'ma just say this for me. That backup gesture shit that you talking about, now I'ma speak from a personal perspective. I've had girls who cheated on me that introduced me to these gestures that you're talking about. Oh, that's someone that I grew up with. Oh no, I just use him for money, this and that. And when I broke up with him, or they broke up with me, guess who they was with? That gesture that you keep talking about. Like, that's bullshit. They don't see themselves with them until they're done with you, and they don't really have no other option. And we all know how women get down when y'all lonely and vulnerable and shit like that. The gesture will do, because that is the person that you've been fucking talking to on the low. That is the person that you've been flirting with on the low. And all he has to do now is just push. And then there's women that did that to me, that just hang around and wait. Hey, you single yet? No, I'm still with somebody. And they wait, and they wait, and they wait. And then all of a sudden, you single, or we might be somewhere. No, I ain't. And then they shoot they shot. Full blown, full all the way there. But this is someone that I've been dealing with. I ain't never saw myself with that person or anything. That's a backup. You know what I'm saying? I knew it and she knew it. We might have flirted and never crossed lines. Never went that route. But I knew enough about the person to say that she liked me, you know what I'm saying? And I might have kind of been interested, but was like, you know, I ain't in that space. Mm-hmm. And in the minute I'm having problems with my woman or my lady, and this person get hit at the right time, then that's who I'm talking to.
I mean, if you're gonna make it whatever. First of all, if you're gonna make it that vague. First of all, let me say this. That is vague, because you're talking about people that could technically be friends for over 10, 20 years, and they're in each other's lives, or they're social media friends over a period of time where they're both unavailable and then they become available. I don't think that's technically a backup lover.
But I ain't talking about that.
That's what you just basically explained. Someone who hangs around until you're single.
No. And I'm talking about y'all flirt back and forth with each other. I'm not talking about y'all just talk. Hey,
I think friends
is the sun yellow?
Flirt all the time, but flirting is still vague. It's very vague, because a flirt to you might not even be a flirt to me. Hey,
it's not, because a flirt.
You understand what I'm saying? So you just clearly flirted with the hey.
In your eye.
Well, I'm just saying it clearly, but we still might look at flirts different. I just made a very easy, simple example. Hey, and you be like, hey. You know what I'm saying? She's flirting with you. You're not flirting with her. So technically, if she has that hey relationship with you over 10 years, that's not your backup lover. That's someone has flirted with you that you haven't flirted back with. So to technically call her your backup lover is incorrect. You don't even look at her that way.
I didn't talk about that.
And that's number one. Number two is, this is Fox 2. This is a credible, this ain't the Shade Room. This is a credible news station or organization, media organization, that did a statistic and came back very high, 90%, and chose to use the words backup and lover. If they weren't meaning to make lovers mean what it did, then I think they just would have chose backup situation. Or, you understand what I'm saying? They actually chose the words backup lover. So excuse me for looking at that word and saying, well, that's not true. People have associates that they think are handsome. There's a lot of men that I've crossed paths with that I thought was handsome. And they may have flirted and I may have flirted back. That does not technically qualify them as a backup lover if I end up with them later. That's just someone that I know. Especially if you live in a town, let's say you live in Alabama. Has anybody seen the movie like Sweet Home Alabama? Where Reese Witherspoon left home, become a journalist, is completely engaged to someone else, goes back home, and she's automatically roped into a life with the guy that she was dating when she was in high school. Something similar. I don't know if I'm verbatim. But that's easy for people to do. Rope you into your old life. Well, it's the same if you are in a city, living in a city, working in a city, been there 20 years, and then you are married and then divorced. You're not gonna you could meet someone new from another town, but in most cases, you're gonna meet the guy you used to go to high school with. It doesn't technically make him your backup lover because you've known him for 15 years and that you were attracted to each other. I don't think that qualifies him as a backup lover. And if they're counting situations like that, I don't think it's fair. And they may be, and that's why the number is so high.
They're not doing that. And that's cool. Your name is Simple Stone from now on in the rest of this show. But I'm glad that you use movies analysis. I just watched a show just recently. It's on HBO. It's called The Industry. I watched this chick that has a boyfriend that goes to her job every day. She flirts with this guy every day. She knows that she has a boyfriend because I think this is kind of what they talking about. So we'll put it in quicker terms for you to understand exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm willing to bet that 90% of people that they're showing on this show do this. Because at your job, there's someone that you typically flirt with. Someone flirts with you. Now, like you, she said the same thing when her homegirl asked her, well, you have a boyfriend. She's like, I'm not doing anything. But you flirting with a guy that's not your boyfriend. And he knows that she has a boyfriend. But flirting ain't taking her panties off and making him take pictures with her panties on his face. That's not
beyond flirting.
Exactly. But guess what? To her, she said, I didn't do anything because I hadn't fucked him. She hadn't went out on a date with him. She hadn't did anything. But to her, it's innocent. This is why I brought up that thing about moving the goalposts that women love to do so much. And just because you would have been her homegirl, because her homegirl is like, well, what are you doing? Like, but I didn't do anything. I didn't fuck him. She's like, if y'all get in a room by yourself,
oh, it's going down.
Then
if
what's
you're taking
going
off your panties.
No. She asked her straight up, like, if you get in a room with him by yourself, then what? She said, I don't know. It's nothing really there. I just like that thrill. And that's the thing that I'm talking about right there. Like, I'm not saying that every woman is gonna go to that extreme to have this guy, but even with him, met the boyfriend, shook his hand, I mean, in his face. And the whole time, I even think now, I done went halfway through the season, she still ain't fucked him. You know what I'm saying? Flirt. But they just flirt. But the minute
do extra shit, because that's definitely more than flirting.
I mean, I get it, but what I'm saying is, but he's her backup if she choose to be.
Technically, yes, I would agree in counting her in that 90%. But if you're talking about just vague interaction and vague
I'm not talking about
flirting, then you can't count them, and that's what I'm challenging. I'm not really challenging what you're saying. I'm challenging the 90%.
I think it's like that.
Because I would count the woman that you just described on the movie. But I certainly wouldn't count the woman who just lives in a small town and ends up in a divorce and then ends up with someone she knew. I wouldn't put her on the list of someone who was in that 90% that had a backup lover.
So why do you think the divorce rate is so high right now, since people don't have backup lovers?
I think the divorce rate has a lot to do with financial hardship. And I think that people aren't compatible anymore. I really do. If you want my honest opinion.
So stop right there. Let me show you something. So you don't think they compatible?
No. Okay. I think there's always one doing better than the other. Mm-hmm. And if And if the two people aren't agreeing that it doesn't matter who's doing better than the other, there's clear gender roles and clear leader in the home, no matter who the breadwinner is. Until there's that type of relationship between two people, I always think it's going to end in divorce, because someone always pull rank. So if you have a guy in the house that doesn't make as much money as the woman, she finds a way to pull rank. She finds a way to remind him, hey, this is my shit. She finds a way to remind him who's better in the dynamic. And I think that attributes to the divorce rate nowadays, because I think for the last 10 to 15 years, maybe even longer, there has been one person doing better than the other one in relationships. You haven't met people who are equally yoked. Hey, I was a lawyer and I'm a doctor and we married and we built on that. It's that I'm a doctor and she's in school and I'm going to put her through school. I know people who got married like that, but I don't know two people who got married already doing professionally well and already had life together. It's always one saying, I got it, you come on. And a lot of times that is that comes back to bite people in the ass a little bit. If people are not ambitious or don't move ahead enough, the other person just pulls rank and just reminds the other person that they're not doing as well.
Or the person that's pulling rank finds somebody else. Someone goes to their backup lover again, like I just said. See, the thing about me is, like, I do this shit for fun, man. For fun.
Whatever.
And the thing about it is, like, that's where it always end up. It's like where the majority of affairs and interaction go, in the workplace. And if the person is pulling rank and making that much money, he's around the other person more than anything. If you look at the new episode of Power that's going on, the attorney that Method Man plays is actually cheating with his goddamn
his assistant or
his
whatever
assistant,
she is.
whatever the fuck she
paralegal.
is. And it's because they are around each other all the goddamn time. It's his backup if he choose, and I feel it's the same for women. And when women get fed up, like I said, they move that narrative because they're in the home with the man that they despise, but then it's someone else that they might be working with, or someone right there.
I will agree with that. I just don't agree that it's 90%.
It's 90%.
I just don't agree with that.
It's 90%.
I believe that they're counting vague interactions or people who end up with people that they know.
And I will tell you this. The reason I also say it's 90% is because I don't really feel that people put that much thought into relationships like they used to. Not for this generation. In this generation right now, I think it's kill or be killed, my happiness versus your happiness. And if a person just isn't happy, they just ready to throw in a towel. You know what I'm saying? Quickly. Like, so you watch so many people just walk away from relationships because they either get married young, think it's greener on the other side, and they're willing to throw their relationship away to pursue something else, and then find out that's not what it is. So whether that's what they backup plan, backup generator, or whatever the case may be, you know, it's just like that. And then another reason why I say it falls on women a lot of time, because when women are younger, and I've seen this happen a lot, is that when women get snatched up young, they think it's always like that. When you find women who get married young, like 20, they fresh off the market, then they spend all this time in a relationship, when they come out, they think the market is still the same.
And that's a perfect segue for me to say that backup lovers, I also think that's wrong, because I'm engaged to be married. I don't think there's someone else waiting in the wings if I walk out of my relationship that's going to say, marry me.
You also not 20, and I ain't talking about you. I'm going back into what I was saying before I so rudely interrupted. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about once they get to a certain status, is that you shouldn't have interrupted. You shouldn't have interrupted me. Like, this is my segue into. Ain't nobody asked you about your segue. On topic here. Anyway, like I was saying, and it's funny, and it's funny to me that a lot of women can put a lot of stock into they going to school, things that they're interested in. They can put a lot of invested time. Oh, I want to become a nurse practitioner and do all this time, but they won't take the time to learn about their man, or learn how to keep a man, or do those type of things. So when by the time they come out of this 10-year marriage, they think that they cream of the crop because they got snatched when they was 20. But a 40 plus and over ain't looking for no 40 plus with him. He looking for a younger person, and they out of their time frame, and they ain't willing to do the work. So that's how you have all these women now with all these attitudes that they don't want to do this and they don't want to do that.
But that's not the topic we on.
Yes, it is. Because I'm moving to that. And then these other people that they're in right now is the backups that they run into, thinking it's greener on the other side. So they willing to divorce or get rid of the lover that they have to go with their backup.
I think that's super untrue, because I talk to women all the time and we all commiserate the same on social media that there's a shortage of qualified men. There's a shortage of people out there that are even qualified to be someone's husband. There's a shortage of men out there to begin with. So to have a statistic that women in particular, 90% of us have backup lovers, it just doesn't make any sense to even the narrative that most women paint, saying that there are not a lot of men to choose from. I was just having that conversation this morning, is that the people that I have to choose from, if I were single, are a very small amount of qualified candidates. Most of the people in the city I live in will be unqualified to date me, in my opinion.
You talking to a bunch of yo hoes that ain't got a clue on what it is.
You know what?
What it is that they want. They want people that's not qualified for them. They want some shit that they can't have. That's why the pool is so small. The pool is not small. The pool is, they want someone they don't. I want someone to manhandle me. I want like a man that's a roughneck, this and that. I just had this conversation with a young lady that was asking me about that. Well, can't I have a man that's like rough and that, but he's for me? Okay, I'm gonna break this down for you ladies so y'all are not understanding this and y'all can't get it through y'all skull. So I'm gonna go like this in simple terms. The guys that y'all want, that make money, that can sling dick, got big dicks, and that's rich, they are assholes. They got that way being an asshole, and they're not gonna be nice to you. What makes you think you special? You're not special. That's why they talk down amongst everybody that they with. This is the men that y'all want. These are the men you can't have.
Okay, if that's how you feel about it, I mean, I got the one that I want. So, but what I'm saying is,
well, you talking about your friend, so that's why I'm telling you, talking about this small.
But yeah, you're saying you was like those particular women, but I used to have that same fear. Is that okay? I'm a single person. Yeah, there's a lot of men out here, but okay, he like boys. He don't got a job. He's ugly. I mean, after you separate and put everybody in their perspective piles, the pile that is for you is like 2 or 3 people. If that's fact, per friend that I can, at least speak on behalf, if that story is accurate to all of us, then there's no way that statistic is right, because the people who are even qualified to be back up is a small amount.
Yeah, but we're not talking about marriage. All it says is a backup. Backup doesn't really require any requirements.
It says backup lover.
But that does not require for them to get married or for them to move on in a relationship. You can have a backup lover and never move on into marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend status, or any of the above. All it says is a backup lover.
Right.
A backup lover doesn't require anything.
It doesn't, but saying 90% makes me rope in the people who are just fucking around, and the women out there like me who are, before I was in a committed situation, were looking for commitment. It didn't say out of the 20-year-olds in the world, 90% have backup lovers, or out of the 40-year-olds, they roped it says 90% of women. And I think that's high. I think the statement is okay, but for it to be 90%, I just have to question where they get such a high number when women are out there clearly saying that there is a shortage of men. And by the way, if, let's say I was one of those women that was just getting dick, I still wouldn't be I would be happy and satisfied with getting these several dicks and having a career, that my narrative wouldn't be, oh my God, it's as short as a man out here. No, because I'm making my check and I got some dicks in my Rolodex. So my narrative wouldn't be, oh my God, there's a shortage of men. It wouldn't be that way, because men who got 4 and 5 women and got hoes and all this, you don't see them commiserating saying, man, you know what I'm saying? It's a shortage of hoes out here.
Know why? Because men don't complain like women. Y'all motherfuckers ain't never happy. When y'all got something, y'all push the goalpost. You got 2 hoes, y'all want 3. You know what I'm saying? You got 1 dick. This dick ain't good enough. He ain't got a job. Maybe Larry over there could probably do me some justice.
Not true. And that's what that statistic is saying. And that's not true.
Because that's what it is.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, the thing about it is like, if that shit was in reverse, you know what I'm saying? If it was in reverse, you have no problem with that. 90% of men have backup lovers. That sounds about accurate to me. You know what I'm saying? But you know why? Women stick to the same line of bullshit. And guess what? Now it's erased. Like, men don't even fall for the bullshit that y'all having now.
That's
now
crazy.
we see the forest for the
That
trees and know that y'all full of shit. Know who gave y'all up first? Jada Smith. She gave y'all up first with that entanglement bullshit. And that was the reason why I even brought that up. Because even when y'all caught dead to rights cheating, that was an entanglement. But if a man said that shit, baby, cheating,
that's not true. That is not true.
Oh,
She's just super
See what I'm saying?
hyper intelligent.
Y'all stick with the
An
lie.
entanglement is because it started out parental.
Is a backup.
Then it turned into a mental thing. It just had so many stages that she had to say entanglement. She had to. I mean, it was her son's friend.
Gotcha.
Of course it's an entanglement.
Gotcha.
This is an adult being nurturing.
He was a backup.
That's not a backup.
He was a backup.
Oh my God. He is not a backup to Will Smith. Are you kidding me?
He was a backup.
How?
Because when she was at her most vulnerable and she wanted to feel good, she needed something for a backup. It wasn't Will, so who was it?
It wasn't him.
Well, she and he disagree. So
I would, this is a good point. I'm glad you brought this up, because if I were thinking now about the statistic, I would not put Jada in. Yes, she cheated. She had an affair. I would put her in the pile that cheated, but I wouldn't put her in the statistic of 90% of the women having a backup lover.
And that's the problem.
I wouldn't. That's not what they want, because it wasn't premeditated.
That's the
It's not somebody that she's dating.
So does Fox News say it's premeditated that they have a backup, or do they just say that they have a backup? Oh, okay. I mean, shit. Like, you can't use Jedi mind tricks on me.
It's not a Jedi mind trick, though.
You see, when she get high pitched, see, when she write about something, she speaks straightforward, that tone in the voice. But when it's like scrambling, it's not. You know, that shit don't work on me. Like, listen, she falls right into the 90% with a backup, and like I said, there is no requirement for a backup. Whether she used him for his kindness, his dick, whatever the case may be, why Will was out doing other things, that's just what she used him for. But that backup was there, and that backup was him. It wasn't entanglement.
I wish I could call somebody. I'm gonna look up the reporter. I want us to revisit this topic, because I want to actually ask them where they got that number from. One, and why did they specifically choose those 2 words, backup and lover? Because I'm being completely honest. I get what you're saying. I still wouldn't put her in her situation in the category of a woman with a backup lover.
I got you.
That's not what he was.
Will was on film crying for
You
no
know
reason.
what? I hate you. I'm not saying there was something wrong done. She still was wrong, but I wouldn't put her in that statistic.
That's cool. But you still have not answered the question. What is he?
Someone that she got into an entanglement with. Shit.
Thank you for proving my point. Like, moving that goalpost, fellas. Never give yourself up. Always stick with the lie. You know what I'm saying? The lie would never lie. Keep the lie alive. Keep the lie alive. Keep the lie alive.
That's not a lie.
I got you.
That's messed up.
I got you.
And it frustrates me that you don't get that.
I get it.
I
get that you lying to yourself.
No, I'm not. But men will use the same shit. Oh, it just happened.
See what I'm saying?
You would say that though. You would say that. Oh, she ain't no backup lover.
Hold on.
You putting too much on it. You extra. That's what you would say if I called a woman that you just fucked a backup lover.
That's right. But the difference is, I would not lie about it. I would not say that it's an entanglement.
But you also would say that it's not a back. Would you not say, listen, don't say that. She was not my backup lover. She was a bitch that I picked up from the club. I got drunk and I fucked her. You would not choose to tell me or to agree with me if I called that trick a backup lover.
You would call her anything. You would call her that bitch. Is that bitch in the bathroom?
But is she a backup lover? Would you let me get away with that?
Well, let's be clear. I said before this segue even started, I said the problem that I have is with the word lover. I went straight to backup. So I X'd out the word lover. So no, I wouldn't do that. But if you would sit there and say, that's your backup piece, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to fight it or no shit like that, because a backup, like I said, doesn't require anything. If she was my backup mouth, if she was my backup wet, if she was my backup whatever, wop, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sit there and disagree. The problem is with women, when y'all get busted, it wasn't what it was. You trying to tell me right here that Will Smith and what's his name? Alexis?
No. August Alsina.
Okay, Cena. You know what I'm saying? You trying to tell me that this nigga wasn't a backup when this nigga was like, well, they invited me to their home and I don't know what she trying to do. I don't know what she trying to say. And she sitting there it was at a time when I just wanted to feel good.
And he has some other issues going on too. That's why it's not called a backup lover. Like the sex came later. The entanglement was in the mind.
I don't give a fuck when it came. It came. And they was at the red table because it came and went. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, he was a backup. And she's a high price hoe. She way up there. You know what I'm saying? And y'all, no, because see, this is what's starting to really y'all take certain women and because they way up there, they can't do no wrong. Like, because they way up there, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all, when Beyonce came out with like, hey, Jay cheated on me, there's no way that someone should be cheating on Beyonce. That's Beyonce. He Jay-Z. I know he got as much money as her, but she don't deserve to get cheated on. And y'all can rant and rave and do all this shit. But Will can look like a fucking buffoon, crying, trying to get shit straight, and y'all like, it was an entanglement. It wasn't really nothing.
I didn't say that. I just said she would not be in the statistic.
No. I'm not saying, she would be in the statistic. Now that's what I was finna ride with you. No, she would be in the statistics because she's one of the 90% of high profile women that's up there. And she's in the 90%. So if she's up there, there's no goddamn way I'm thinking lower class citizens ain't.
Listen. A backup lover. A backup lover and a backup vehicle to me are both the same. And if you have a backup vehicle, not only do you pay insurance on it, but there's a registered tag and it is garaged at your address. That has value in it. So don't tell me somebody that's just fly by night deserves even the title of a backup lover for somebody.
I don't know nobody living with a backup lover. It's cars and people are not the same. Like, you lost that debate when you even went that route. Sorry.
You lost. You lost. Too much sauce now.
You the one brought in the car.
No, I'm just saying.
How many of y'all living with y'all backup person?
I didn't say they had to live with them, but I'm saying they're gonna have more value than just someone.
So you brought up registration? Why? I'm just trying to figure it out.
All I'm saying is you gave them the title of backup lover, then they have far more value than someone that you just say hey and bye to. That's not someone I would consider a backup lover. I'm not going to give them that. I'm
not taking anything away from how you feel. How you feel, registration and all, is how you feel. But what I'm saying to you, backup lover is not a significant person and doesn't mean that they're going down the aisle with them. It doesn't really mean that significant of a thing. It's just a backup. And most backup are usable, can be thrown away, could be there just for mental support. Like, even when I brought up the show that I was just talking about, I just said that I'm all the way halfway through this show and she hasn't even fucked her backup. You understand what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that he ain't there.
Okay. We're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one.
We would definitely do.
Yes. We're going to move to the next topic because we're going to end up in a very heated argument.
Ain't no heated argument. Every time you say something, shut down.
So I found this meme, guys. Next topic. I posed it as the thin line between a man being spoiled or a girl being spoiled by her dad and a woman being submissive to a man. Let me tell you where it came from, and maybe you'll understand what I'm saying. The meme says, why is it when a woman says, my daddy spoiled me, as a man, we have to automatically step our game up? But when our mothers spoil us and we require the same energy from a woman, it's, I'm not your mama. So even though it's hard to put in words for a topic, I really wanted to talk about this because I get a lot of flack from a lot of women for being uber submissive. But then I thought about it from that perspective. These same women are women who were very well taken care of by their dads. And their dads were in their lives, damn near raised them. I know one of my friends who's more on the aggressive side and don't deal with shit and is not submissive at all. Her dad had custody of her most of the time. And her dad did spoil her and did make her a very, very strong woman. And she's missing the submissive bone, and she will use that term. Oh, I ain't his mama, girl. He can do that himself. Or why do you do this? And why do you do that? Girl, the nigga can do that shit on his own. She is that chick. So I'm trying to figure out a thin line. If it's okay to say, well, my daddy spoiled me, and then she expect her man to step his game up, why when he says to her, well, shit, you know, my mom made 3 meals a day, she kept her house clean, why would she then turn around and say, well, I ain't your mama? Seems like a pretty basic double standard that we have here.
There ain't no double standard. Women just delusional. You know, I mean, really at the end of the day, I just covered this, and it is real simple as pie. This generation don't put that much stock into relationships. Can't really say like when it has drifted apart, but it is a situation of women versus men, and it's like a game that you know is being played, and it's kind of impossible not to play this game. That is a very interesting point, but what I will say is when fathers tell their daughter that, it's almost like taking a test and leaving out certain parts that they wouldn't read. What that shit called? Cliff Notes. You can't pass the test if you ain't read the whole book. And what fathers do is they give their daughters Cliff Notes. And they don't read the whole book. Well, the problem with that is women will go hard after their careers. They will go hard for money and making sure, I call them like Fortnite bitches. Like they like to build forts. And they good at building up shit and keeping motherfuckers away from them because they don't want to get hurt. I get it. I understand. I ain't saying nothing wrong with being a Fortnite bitch. Build away. But what I'm saying is you're going to end up with a dog or a cat by yourself because you're not willing to learn what makes a man operate. I hear so many women like, I want a man. Why I can't get no man, this and that. Well, you had to learn your career. You'll put in 100 and 110% behind that. But women put in about 50%, 20%. Like less time. And when it come to that, you're absolutely right. I'm not your mama. I ain't asked you to be my mama. But is it so bad that my mom provided me with 3 meals? Is it so bad that my mom did my laundry? Is it so bad that my mom take care of me? And you want me to marry you, but you don't even want to do shit for me?
Right. And that I think, I don't know, maybe we can find a better dialect. Because even with you saying it. Now, there's nothing wrong with a mother who's home and is cooking 3 meals a day. My mom did it. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She sold Tupperware. My dad was in the Marines. So my mom stayed at home with me. So it's not negative. What you said reminds me of my childhood. But as you say it, and I'm listening to it as an empowered woman, and other women are listening to it as empowered women, it's not coming off as... It's almost like you're coming off as a man who hasn't left the launch pad. And we know that's not true about you.
Well, I'm not talking...
But the verbiage, the lines that you're reading, it sounds like a guy that just has had failure to launch.
I got that. But this is the thing that I'm going to say about women who get those lines blurred. And that's why I said you got cliff notes. Not the whole book, Cliff Notes. Being independent, I don't think men have a problem with. And I'm not saying that. And I'm also not talking about men that ain't shit. You understand what I'm saying? I was given a list of shit. My mom taught me not to depend on a woman for nothing. That's just me. So I can do my own laundry. I can cook myself. I don't need a woman for anything but pussy.
Right.
So when they come to me and let's just say one don't want to do laundry or one that can't cook and I can cook, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is you can't dismiss and not want to learn and not want to better yourself and not be in this relationship and be better. That's what I'm saying. Is it so hard for you in relationships to be a give or take? Well, I'm not you. I never cook for nobody else and you want me to marry you. So if you take an initiative to learn how to cook, that would make me be like, this is a woman that did 50-50, didn't do that shit for other men, learned how to cook for me. I'm appreciative of it, and we can keep shit moving. I'm not saying they gotta take on the whole goddamn thing for some motherfucker that ain't shit. Don't get that wrong. I'm not talking about that. But I'm saying for those women sitting there talking about I'm not your mama. They don't want to cook. They don't want to clean. They don't want to do shit. They better take me the way that I am. If this is not good enough, then fuck that shit. I'm going to move on to the next. How many times you think you're going to be doing that? Because one thing I can say is for men, it works out perfectly fine. I see men that get married at 50, 80 years old. Is that shit happening for women? Is the question.
No. It's not. And if this is a real issue, I didn't really, when I saw the meme, it was like a light bulb because I didn't know. I knew the issue of women being submissive was an issue because I'm submissive and I have a lot of people who are combative with me about it. But I failed to realize that some of these same people are the people who use the same line, I got spoiled by my dad, and women who aren't. Women that I see now just that are coming out empowered and young and pretty, they have that stance. You know, I know what I'm looking for because of the way my daddy treated me. But these are some of the same women, like you said, maybe didn't get the whole story because they're just used to that one side.
Cliff Notes.
My dad spoiled me. I want to be taken care of by a guy. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But they're failing the test because in order to give or in order to get, you have to give. Yeah. And they're just not willing to do that. And that's why I called it the thin line, because I guess you've seen both. If you have a brother in the home, in my home, clearly everybody was a woman except for my dad. So I didn't get to see my mom nurture a son and spoil a son. And I don't have any brothers. Gotcha. So that's why I wasn't enlightened to it.
Gotcha.
You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know how much or how little a man actually is combated with I ain't your mama. I've only seen the attitude what is the word I'm looking for? Depicted by the one friend I'm telling you about, but most of those characters are in movies. The high-powered woman attorney who, you know, it just don't take no shit and is not submissive. I ain't your mama type of woman. It's only that character is only depicted in film. I don't really see that a lot in life, and I also don't hear men talk about it a lot. So maybe that's why I had that light bulb moment when I read the meme.
If a man was to complain about things that women do, they would be looked at like a bitch, or they would be called that bitch. Even a lot of times when men start to be combative with women, with stronger women, that's the first thing that come out a woman's mouth. Oh, you a bitch now? You soft? You crying about you crying about what I don't do? You know what I'm saying? I ain't like one of these other hoes. You want that shit?
I would say is an abusive woman.
Go get your dick sucked by Tasha down the street, and that's why you hear most men mute, and also that's why most men cheat. Because why in the fuck I'm gonna take this type of abuse? Like, what the fuck am I getting out of this shit when I can run into somebody and get my dick sucked over at their house and get my back rubbed, and you know what I'm saying, the bitch that you with got you on pussy restrictions and you can only fuck her like once or twice a month or some shit like that. Like, that shit be really going down.
So is this a problem for beta males, you would say?
No.
That's like I said, I don't know a lot of guys who are complaining about it.
It's a problem with women that won't put their dick away. That's what the problem is. It's women who think they have dicks. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. It's women who think they have dicks. When you meet a combative woman, what's the difference between what they saying and what you hear a man say? You done heard your woman, one of your homegirls one time sound like a man. No, I ain't doing that shit. That's what a nigga say. I ain't doing that shit. Fuck that bitch. Fuck that nigga. He can go get that shit somewhere else. Like, she damn near holding the nuts. Like, when she start doing that shit. You know what? That nigga, he wanna, shit, he better go get that shit somewhere else then. You know what I'm saying? She sound like a fucking man.
No, she sounds like a woman scorned. Because I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, I do know a person that's like this, and she's like that, maybe because of the way she was raised, but anyone else that I've come across that acts like that is a woman who is just, she's here. She's fed up. She's over it. I ain't your fucking mama. I've already done your laundry. I've cooked 3 meals a day. Your ass still run the streets. So now I'm starting to really think about this now. Like, because like I said, there aren't a lot of men commiserating saying, she keeps saying she ain't my mama. You know, I don't hear that a lot. You know, but I do hear women say, I used to do this and I used to do that and I'm not doing that shit no more. And you can't. You need to let that nigga take care of himself because niggas is all the same. They ain't shit and you doing too much and you being too much.
There's too many Fortnite bitches out here. You know, that's all I'm gonna say. There's too many of them out here. You know, and the thing about it, I really blame, you know, like the rappers nowadays. You know, I'm gonna give a good example of this shit right here. You know, the rappers nowadays, I hear a lot of the young ones now that be like, damn man, you supposed to be an OG. You supposed to look out for us. You supposed to tell us, don't insult us. Just tell us you supposed to be OG, so don't belittle us, give us game. Well, know what's wrong with y'all women? Y'all OGs ain't stepping up either. Because if some of y'all OGs come out, because the women think the men lying to them or some shit like that. If some of y'all women OGs come out and be like, you gonna end up like me with a dog and a cat. I ain't found nobody since I left my husband. I'm serious. If some of them women come tell y'all the stories that they going through, how hard it is to find a man, how hard it is back out here dating, I bet you that should have changed y'all motherfucking attitude. Cause y'all think that y'all shit don't stink. It's alright to believe in yourself. I'm not saying that. But a lot of these ones that scorn, then take yourself off the market. You don't gotta be out here combating shit. Take yourself out the market. You're not ready. Go seek some therapy. That's cool. Let your kids grow up until they adult. And in the meantime, while you taking care of your household and everything's going up and you got a 13, 14-year-old, let them become 18, 21. Then you can get back out there. And in the meantime, while they 13, 14, go seek therapy. Go sit down on somebody's couch and talk about the shit that your ex-husband used to do to you.
Yeah.
That got you feeling angry.
Yeah, it is.
That's what you need to do. The problem is you get lonely, want some dick, and then go out here and then thinking you can just manhandle men.
I think men now, as much as this has been a big movement for women, I think men also now know what the fuck they're looking for.
Oh yeah.
You know, they clearly know a girl that they would like to have a one-night stand with and a woman they would like to marry.
Oh, yeah.
And the woman who is combative and I ain't your mama, that's not who he wants to marry. Now, I get it. I get where it comes from because I don't want to take any credit away from the women who have come to the realization that the guy that they chose has a failure to launch. He has a failure to get off the couch. He has a failure to get a job. He has a failure to take care of himself. And that's where I ain't your mama is coming from because every time you want a bag of Cheetos, I got to give you $2.50.
But I already excluded them, and that's another reason why I say you might not need to be dating. Because like if you just came out of a marriage that's bad, then you're clearly not ready to be dating. You get what I'm saying? And you're clearly not ready to be out here on the market. You don't deserve to be in the dating pool if you're that hurt. You understand what I'm saying? So if you can't come out of your divorce, ex-boyfriend or whatever, and have some type of trust issues or certain shit is ticking you,
baggage,
or you know, you have all these things that's like fucking with you when you look at your current man. That remind me of my ex. He used to flip his phone down like that. That remind me of some shit my ex used to do that just clicks something in my head and makes me mad and I don't even know why I'm mad. You don't deserve to be dating. Like, for real. You got to get that tick fixed.
Yeah. Triggers. I mean, and that's a whole nother show. I mean, I think the word trauma deserves like an hour because it is the reason why. It is the reason why for our ancient mama. It's the reason why she even says, well, my daddy spoiled me. You know, if you have to tell someone that, you have trauma. If you have to physically say to a man that you're dating, well, my daddy spoiled me, then you have some type of drama or some type of trauma, because why do you have to say that? And why did you choose the person that you have to say that to? So if it boils down to your choices, then somehow your choices are always linked.
And that's a good point.
To your trauma.
And that's a good point right there. Why would you even have to say that? If you're with a person and you really like them and you wanted to work out and you making those type of statements, that's the problem that you don't need to be there.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, you don't need to be there. Mm-hmm. And some women, a lot of times, I would say if a woman, it hasn't happened to me, but if a woman had said that to me, I would reverse that to her. Your daddy told you that? Well, my mama told me to tell you this. Now what? And we be in a standoff. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That means we more than likely ain't gonna be able to work out.
Not compatible. Definitely not compatible. It's just one of those things where, like I said, I think that the more and more we sit here and think about it, you get deeper and I get deeper, and I think that's because those type of things are definitely linked to trauma, and we should definitely dedicate a whole entire hour of the show to a word like that, because I think a lot of people forget, because there's good trauma and there's bad trauma, or there's just, I don't want to separate it good and bad, there's just minor and major trauma, but every piece of trauma you had, whether it's minor or major, it has everything to do with every choice that you make. Everything that you like, everything that you decide in life comes from some type of trauma. And I think that's why I took to, not that I'm a Scientologist, but I identify with clearing in the religion of Scientology, which is, hey, they take the person and they remove trauma from their psyche. They can't remember it. So now they're not making the same choices that they would make normally, because that trauma is gone. They don't even remember it. It's like it never even happened. And so that's how I know for sure that some of these issues are just from trauma. And you I look at a meme like this, I'm like, oh, this is a simple little debate. We could debate this and be done with it. But it's really not, because even the more and more we unravel and peel back the layers of a woman who has to say, hey, my daddy spoiled me, and a woman that say, I ain't your mama, if you have to, as we peel back those layers, we realize that only a person that's hurt or has some type of trauma would ever even say those two phrases. Whether she said, hey, my daddy spoiled me, or I ain't your mama. Both of those, I feel like, are both negative in context.
Well, I'm a pussyologist, and I'm going to tell you this. Some of the nagging that goes down when women say shit like that, like I ain't your mama, and they had the neck rolls and they had this little attitude. Yeah. I want you to think about this. Is your pussy good enough for a nigga to be putting up with that nagging? You know what I'm saying? I know y'all was wondering where I was going with this shit. And the thing about it is, men think like that too. Like, is this pussy good enough for me to be having all this pushback? You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can't be having mouth and not using your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Them two don't go together. My God. Like, I'm supposed to hear all this shit, all this pushback, and it ain't worth that? Nah, I'm good. Keep that shit over there. You know what I'm saying? And we can just move on to the next.
I can't entirely agree.
I feel you.
Because her vagina and the way she is being treated in life should not be in the same sentence.
And she shouldn't have all that bass in her chest. Because what I'm saying is, this is the thing, just to break it all the way down. The dude that you talking about, the ones with the Cheetos for the $2.50, and that he's sitting down on the sofa and shit like that. See, when he fucking her right,
she ain't complaining about this.
That's why she putting up with that shit. That's why she going to get the cigarettes and the beer and the Cheetos and all that shit, because the nigga laying pipe. And that's what she tell her homegirl, why are you putting up with that shit? that nigga can fuck. That nigga dick big. It is what it is. Well, it's the same shit for niggas. Exact same shit for men. Like, if that pussy is not good enough, and you giving off all this attitude, all this pushback, all this nagging, and you can't put me to sleep, you know what I'm saying? I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can keep that shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna have me having a whole bunch of attitude and the pussy is halfway.
I can't with you. I really cannot. So what you're saying is, it's this, and I've never even heard it put like that, but I have known some women to deal with some bullshit because the dick is good. I think we've all been there. I think we've all been fucked right and the dude wasn't doing right, but we were still getting fucked right. So I will admit to that because I'm transparent. But I haven't heard a guy say, well, you know, she does nag, but damn, that pussy get wet and she got a deep throat. I don't hear that a lot. I mean, so hearing you say it, and even though you didn't say it the way I just did, it's new for me.
I mean, like I said, men have very little words, you know, but that is a thing. Like, because you weigh like your options. I don't think a human being won't weigh their options. And at the end of the day, even as a woman that's saying I'm not your mama, you gonna look at that and kind of figure certain things out in your own little play. And if it's just a whole bunch of nagging and not a good enough amount of pussy, throat goat action, all that type of shit, and I'm a Dixman, it just won't work out. You know what I'm saying? We're not on the same ocean. You know what I'm saying? It's just not working out. The wind just isn't blowing for us.
Right, it's not blowing our way. Yeah. And it's also not blowing that way for one of our listeners who sent us a tap in. I need help. I'm 20 and I still can't get pussy. I don't think I'm ugly. I used to be chubby and short, but I lost the weight. I honestly think it's because I'm shy and I don't have any game. How do I flirt with someone without sounding corny or desperate?
That nigga got the Cliff Notes too, huh? This sounds like a job for alpha male.
It's ironic that you said you were a pussyologist because the tap in is for you today.
You know, this definitely sounds. But one thing I will tell guys is, like, you know, being scared of pussy for what? Women put on they skirt, pants, shorts, panties, one leg at a time. And believe it or not, a lot of times when guys are in clubs, they look at a beautiful woman, and a lot of times them women don't even know that they beautiful. Sometimes you could talk to women that are beautiful and they still ask you, do you think I'm attractive? Mm-hmm. You know, and guys need to know that.
Trauma.
Just shoot your shot, man. You know what I'm saying? Get used to the no's, because you're going to get to the yes. You know what I'm saying? And when you get to the yeah, you're going to get to the O face. Oh. And that's sometimes like what it takes. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it takes sometimes. Like, you can't be scared out here. It's about confidence. And women love men with confidence, man. Yeah. If you act like you got a big dick, you might just pull it off.
And I was going to say that. He was able to say that, you know, I think it's because I'm shy. I think it's because of this. Like, and then you also were at a place where you put it on Facebook, or you put it on our Facebook relations page or whatever, or the email. You put it out there in the universe that you don't get pussy. And so I feel like you walk around like you don't get pussy. Yeah, and you can't walk around like you don't get pussy. You got to walk around like you got a big dick. You just have to. And you got to walk around like you've done it before. And I think, too, if I met you personally, I would be turned off if I found out you hadn't fucked yet. So, I mean, it's okay once we've, you know, gotten to know each other and maybe you tell me later, like, that was my first time. But especially if you're with a woman that's experienced, it might be a little awkward to share with her that she's having a coming of age moment. She's past that, most likely, especially if she's on a college campus or at a career place. She's already done it. So maybe you keep that to yourself till after.
And good news is, man, you're just 20, so you got plenty of time.
Plenty of time. And all you have to do is keep tuning in to Relations.
Sorry about that.
Get some good advice from
Alpha Male G.O.D.
You already know.
Yeah. Good news is he's 20 years old. He has plenty of time, but definitely need to start practicing. If you're 20 years old, I'm willing to assume that he's on a campus. Mm-hmm. So with him being on a campus, you got plenty of shit to practice on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And hey, there's cheerleaders there, flag girls, students. I mean,
explore.
I mean, you got the whole world is in your hands.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, you can't be a sailor. Like I said, it's levels to this. You're trying to get the Dixman. I understand, but it's levels to it. So while you're on that little small lake, explore.
And we'll be right here waiting for you to tune back in every single Friday. My name is Kana Lassiter. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and IG at Kana Lassiter.
It's your boy 51 Spade on both platforms, Instagram and Twitter. Y'all go ahead and hit me up. And for the tap-ins, send all tap-ins to spadeperry@gmail.com. Hey, subscribe to the channel, man. We need 1,000 likes, man, if y'all be wanting us to go live on YouTube. So go ahead, go to our YouTube page and subscribe to that. People that's checking us out on Podbean, I want to thank y'all. Y'all go ahead and keep following us. And if y'all enjoying the show, y'all know how to do. If you're looking for the shirts, you know where to get them at. It's alphamalegodcreations.com. And like I always say about this time,